Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let us know where you are geographically. Thank you for praying for peace with us. And we're going to get the show started now.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I'm the one that's Scott. That's the one that's Omashar, and that's the one that's Tiara. And welcome to the awakening world. It is going to be one of those shows where we are going to be talking about all the amazing things going on in our galactic family, in our galactic world, UFOs, UAPs, cosmic consciousness, and much more. We have wonderful music with Omashar. We've got prayer with Tiara. And we've got Neil Gar, because it is our monthly collaboration with Portal to Ascension. And Neil always brings amazing guests. And speaking of amazing guests, we are going to hear from our beloveds, AJ and Tom, speaking from Source, the twin channels that have rapidly become two of our favorite people that we ever have on this show. We are also going to be hearing from Alan Steinfeld. There he is. I didn't see him initially as Alpha One. You've changed. You become Alpha One's sunspot. So we'll have to learn all about that tonight. We also have Laura Eisenhower with us, and I'm looking for Laura. Where are you? There she is. Hello, Laura.
Hey guys, good to be here.
It's great to have you with us, Laura. And Peter Benson is going to be with us. And there's Peter. There we go. A couple of that we're going to be with us weren't able to make it due to health issues. So we're going to add some special things and a special treat. You know, we're beginning to highlight members of our Global Peace Tribe family, getting to know them a little bit. And tonight we are going to get to know Susan Wooldridge, who it turns out is an amazing poet. I bought her book, Poem Crazy. So we're really looking forward to learning all about Susan. So let's get ready to dive into the show. Let us know where you are geographically. And if you're ready to move and groove, here is our beloved house musical artist, the man who makes all things happen, Mr. Omashar.
Yes, indeed. Namaste and welcome to Now. And let's get this show rocking and rolling. And this is a song called I Am the Lover That You Need. So work that one out for yourself. We're going to put on a suit. Well, I am going to put on a suitable backdrop. And thank you all of those who are joining us on our streaming partners, plus Facebook and YouTube. And let's get this show rocking and rolling, shall we? Or at least moving and grooving. All right. Into the cave.
In your eyes, where is the joy in your heart? Why are you hiding from me, staying locked in your doubt? My love is all that there is. Your fear is hurting you so. I know it's all that you feel, and that it's hard to let go, let it go, let it go, and 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 again, that look in your eye. You do not believe in me. You'd rather live in your dreams. I've come to set you free. I am the lover you need. I hold my hand out to you. All I ask is your trust. I love you more than you know, and I love you, and 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 purpose to life. Come back home.
Come back home, Scott.
This guy keeps muting me. I tell you, hey, Twinkle Time for Star, our almost star. And what I love about that song is it really reminds us of what Rumi taught us about the eternal beloved, the great love that's always there. And that song captures it so beautifully, Omar Shar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, welcome everybody. I am looking at all the people in the chat box. We've got people from Nashville, Tennessee, Ecuador, Rhode Island, Nevada, of course, California, Australia, New York. It's very, very exciting. We truly are a global peace tribe. And tonight we're going to go beyond global. We're going to go galactic because it's our monthly collaboration with our good friend Neil Gar, who, of course, is the founder and creator of Portal to Ascension. And he'll be co-hosting along with Alan Steinfeld, Mr. Making Contact.
Himself.
And where are you, Alan? You've been hiding today. Where are you? He was here a moment ago. He keeps changing his
Alpha
name.
One.
Alpha One. Where is
Alpha
that?
One Satari.
There he is. You need to unmute, Alan. Alan, you need to unmute. Or maybe he's on a phone call or something.
You might be.
Had to change my galactic handle for being in Sedona, so that's where I am. So-
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for dropping us.
I don't know how long I can stay on because I'm in Sedona at a ceremony, but I'll be here as long as I can. So thank you.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Since you kind of missed, can you be with us for 10 minutes and then take off? Because right
Yes.
now in the agenda is when you and I and Neil, we're going to do a little bit of a catching people up about all just kind of the latest news around
Yes.
making contact.
Yes.
So if you can be with us for 10 minutes and then go off and be merry.
Okay, good.
And I'll kind of start us off. By the way, people already, Neil, are acknowledging what a great day it was in Portal to Ascension. So why don't you share with us a little bit about what took place today in Portal?
Yeah. It's still going on. It was supposed to end 15 minutes ago, so I was multitasking, closing the other one, and I had somebody jump in for me for the last 5 minutes because it's still happening. Well, the Chinese New Year is underway, right? We were in the year of the snake, and the year of the fire horse is about to take hold. Even though the Chinese New Year is February 17th, the actual date seems to be February 4th from one of the astrologers that was on today. So every year, Nana Kasha and myself, we do a Chinese astrology event at this time. So this event was called the Final Shedding. The year of the snake ends and the fire horse begins. And so the whole understanding and component of this was that the last couple of years we've been in serpentine energy, dragon energy, and then snake energy. It was interesting. I mentioned earlier today that a lot of people weren't even into Chinese astrology that I know of until the dragon year, because the dragons in general presented themselves and the consciousness of the dragons just became so predominant in people's awareness. People that are into galactic history, people that have connection to beings from other worlds, and it just coincided, happened to coincidentally align with the fact that Dragon Year began. And so if you look at those 2 years as deep shadow working years, not only is the serpent the shadow work, but we also have the dragon that has the fire energy, and the dragon flies high in the sky. And then we go into the snake, which takes us down to the ground, the serpentine energy. So a lot of shadow elements in these last 2 years. But then you can go back to 2020. It's been a really rough ride for a lot of humanity in general for the last, ever since the beginning of COVID.
Right.
And
And
now we're moving into the fire horse year. So the whole component of this event today was just what the energy really represents for the future, what the fire represents, the burning of the old paradigm, the phoenix rising from the ashes. So it was just a message of hope, and from us moving from such an inward reflective reality to more of an expansion reality, and how do we now create this new world with all the tools and the wisdom that we've received over the last few years.
Wow. Now, can people still go to Portal to Ascension and get the recording?
Yeah, most definitely. It's 100% free, so you can go on there. If you go to the replays, it'll be the first one on the replay, and you'll probably we'll have the replay up in maybe 1 or 2 days from now.
Great. And again, since we're talking about Portal to Ascension, then we'll go to Alan if he's ready.
yeah, I'm ready. Scott, 2026 is also a 1 year. 2, 2, 6 is a 1. 10 equals 1. 1 is a new beginning. And the new beginning really for our culture is that we are moving into the second quarter of the 21st century. And that first quarter, the first 25 years, was a really completion of the last, century, the 20th century, what everything we thought was possible. Now that old world is kind of finishing, and there's some collapse, there's some disorganization, but it's rebuilding. Like Neil said, the phoenix is rising from the ashes. And that's what this new culture. I've just been in Sedona with people doing remarkable things. It was a whole movement, a higher level of human potential. People were seeing through their blindfolds. They were moving objects at a distance. They were sticking pennies to the wall. I mean, I started to see through my blindfolds. This is the next level of human potential, and this is what the real blossoming of humanity in the 21st century is all about. What's next? What's going on? Who are we really as a galactic civilization? That's why we're really moving into exciting times, even though it looks like everything's collapsing around us. So let that happen, and let's start to emerge into these new realities, I would say, with opening portals to Ascension. So that's where we're at.
Beautifully put. And Carol Craig writes, I watched a few of the guests today in between my sessions. It was great, Neil. Portal to Ascension is an excellent experience. And again, I just want to let any audience know, Portal to Ascension, here it is, .org. And there's always amazing things going on. Many of the presenters that are regulars on that show are the people you get to see, including some of the people tonight. And just go to events. And that takes us to upcoming events.
Yes.
And there you go. And you've got one tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about the re-evolution of consciousness.
So January, every beginning of every year, I like to set a theme. I like to do events on January 1st, and we went nonstop galactic in January. We had the Real Disclosure Conference that you were tuning into, Alan and I put together. 2 days, January 2nd and 3rd. Then we had the Palladians and Arcturians conference 1 week later, and then last week we had the Dragons conference. So it was super galactic. And now February is the month of gifting for me. So this month we have a bunch of amazing free conferences throughout the month. So we have the Shedding one, which was no charge event. We have the Re-Evolution of Consciousness, which is, it's not the evolution of consciousness, it's re-evolution, because it's talking about how cycles are in times. How time is in cycles, and how we have been at different levels of consciousness, and then we went for forgetfulness, and we are re-evolving to a higher level, with hopefully with more insight, more wisdom than the last ages. So this entire event tomorrow is going to be energy tools, energy transmissions, including scientific awareness, such as quantum physics, simulation theory, all these different elements and components that show that we're evolving in consciousness, plus the transmissions that will help you uplift as well.
But Scott, one more thing is that Neil has taken on a huge, huge project. He is rebuilding the New Living Expo, coming to everyone in April at the Marin County Center, April 17th to the 19th, with a whole new theme and upliftment. And it's going to be a new era for Portal to Ascension as it starts to ground itself into a physical place at the New Living Expo in San Rafael. And actually, we're also going to have a presence at the Conscious Life Expo at the LAX Hilton on February 20th to 22nd. So if you want to start there, or just meet us in San Rafael in April too. So this is the beginning of Portal to Ascension really being a presence in our collective awakening. So I'm happy to be part of that.
Thanks, Alan. If I can just piggyback on that, to go to the bigger picture, we're doing these events here and there, but really, as Alan has shared, and we all know that the energy is picking up, there's so much craziness and chaos in the world because the old systems cannot sustain the energy of this new paradigm. This new paradigm is that of harmony, transparency, unity. The systems of the old were designed only to better the few, and they had to be like, even the way the economy is set up in a way where there needs to be income inequality. There need to be those that go without for those to go with those that have. So what we're seeing right now is all these systems that don't embody this new energy of us all coming together and being on the same playing field and evolving in unity and transparency and higher consciousness are going to fall by the wayside. So these events are going to pick up even more and more, and I'm so blessed to like literally take this event that has this legacy all the way from the Whole Life Expo into the future and see what we can do with it. This is the first year that I'm going to be running it at the helm, but we have a lot of amazing plans for the future, and I'm just excited to be working with all my good friends and for you having me on here, Scott, also helping promote and being a part of the New Living Expo for so many years as well.
Yeah,
I just also want to say one more thing. I want to commend your courage, Neil, for taking on such a big project, for not just sitting back and let it all unfold online. You've really, gone after something big. You're pulling in this like huge force to tame it, like the wild horse of fire. You're there and you're putting all your efforts into giving this community a bigger voice, a bigger forum, and I'm really happy you're doing that. So thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Before we go to Laura Eisenhower, she's going to be up next. Alan, if you could sit still for a minute, because I'm going to ask you to share something. So I'm getting seasick watching you walking all over the place. So if you can sit still for 5 minutes, that would be awesome.
No, sorry, I'm just trying to find kind.
What I'm wanting to share with people, 2 weeks ago, you hosted what I found to be probably the most powerful day of presentations about not just UFO and UAPs, but really consciousness. It was an extraordinary gathering and we'll put the link where people can go back and watch the replay. But for me, what I appreciated was it was beyond seeing lights in the sky or telling abduction stories. There was a general consensus that all the experiences that we're having, whether it's a near-death experience, an out-of-body experience, a UFO sighting, an alien abduction, they're all helping us to blow our minds open so that we can become much more aware beyond our belief systems, beyond what we think is real, that all these experiences are almost like they're designed on each person's individual level to help us really expand our capacity of thinking, our capacity of consciousness. And it was powerful. And I want to acknowledge you for putting that together, along, of course, with Dr. Tara and others. And I'm curious what you'd like to share about that amazing day that we were all together 2 weeks ago. And you need to unmute, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, the key to that, I think, intense discussion was the fact that we weren't talking about disclosure as something happening to us, but happening for us. We are here as an evolving civilization, and we're not leaving it up to government to take the lead. This is a people's movement, like all the great political movements.
Whoops. We're losing your volume in your internet, Alan.
Women's liberation, as citizens of a large from John Mack. John Mack was a psychiatrist at Harvard who starts to meet contactees. He says UFOs are like an outreach program from the cosmos for the consciously impaired. This, like you're doing, this expanding consciousness, but that takes us beyond the mundane, beyond the planet. It takes us into things that beyond limitations of our body, beyond the planet, beyond our country for sure, and into something bigger. We're about to cross the threshold to some known. And that's why the moment is so exciting in human history. We are about to meet the unknown face to face and integrate it. And you have to go to with curiosity, not with fear. And that's what I encourage everybody to do. Heraclitus said, dogs also fear what they don't know, also bark at what they don't know. We're here to embrace the unknown and
Unfortunately, Alan, you're breaking up.
We
We're only getting a portion of what you're saying. So I'm going to actually uh, speak for you. We're going to put into the chat box, and we'll show people where they can go get the replay because it really is a powerful, powerful program to watch. And there's a really great group of speakers and presenters. So, Neil, while we wait, Laura is taking care of something. Would you be willing to do one of your poems right now?
Oh, I'd love to, yes. All right, let me pull one up here. All right, everybody. Um, Before I do the poem, let me just let you know that I have an album coming out, and I'm gonna put the info about myself in here first. If you want to hear my music, I have three hip hop albums, and I have one spoken word album, and then I have a joint album with my friend Chris Noble that's going to be being released in a couple of weeks. And the poems I'm going to do today, I think I might have time for two or three throughout to this evening, are from that album. And we are also going to be doing an event in Athens, Greece, April 2nd. So if you're in Europe or you're in Greece and you can come out to our events, healthemusictour.com. Healthemusictour.com. So this one is called Fragments of a Lost Soul. Let's all take a deep breath in together. Live life to the fullest. Each day, seconds turn into minutes. Time passes by. Animals and leaves die, browning by the seasons. Growing and planting seeds again is what all men and women are destined to do in order to continue to live the life that we choose. The sun shines light as we move through heaven's tunnels and tubes, wormholes, niches, and grooves, navigating existence, entering the womb. In gestation. I am elation, exhilaration, and patience creates balance in this wasteland of nuclear pollution. My observation of creation is that we're all heading for the same destination. Millennia of intergalactic wars can't stop the frequency that we're in store for, so I spit from my core of my lost fragmented souls, reclaiming pieces I left in this world. The carrot in front of me, the elusive pearl. I remember. I remember. I remember. I came here before. Just one MC emanating empathy, connected to the fire within me where it became pure energy, an allergy to this world of anarchy, amnesia in this fallacy, anesthesia. Numb out the insanity. Overstimulation leading to apathy, accusations of blasphemy. The gravitation of this third-dimensional reality causes atrophy, emotional bankruptcy. I travel the galaxy to release the agony, rearrange anatomy, avoid catastrophe, cosmic morality, embrace duality, obtain immortality. This is the analogy. Planting the seeds, and it's what we all need, just so we can let go and breathe. Just let go and breathe. Just let go and breathe. Just let go and breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
It was beautiful. Let's send some love to Neil. He's such an amazing poet. And wow, amazing, amazing. Celeste wrote one of the set lines, embrace duality to achieve immortality. Exceptionally wise.
And the whole song, including the breathe in, breathe out, is all a part of the song. So in the song, it goes into a meditation where we have the instrumentation and we have a whole guided breath work at the end of the song too. So that will be out in a couple of weeks.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And Ayada wrote, we're going to go to Laura in 1 minute, but I want to read a couple comments that have come in from our audience. Ayada writes, Scott, I'm getting a visceral sense of what you're describing about these extreme events catalyzing our evolution. And I'm starting to see it that way also. And thank you, Ayada. That's exactly a good way of putting it. Extreme events catalyzing our evolution. And I think that can even include the extreme events going on politically. I think that that's a really good way of putting it. Thank you very much. And of course, people are really coming in to appreciate, your beautiful poetry. Thank you. Lots of people coming in. Dear Neil, that was powerful. Well, all of your spoken word pieces are. I love having you join us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to introduce Laura Eisenhower?
Sure. I don't have an official bio, but by now you'd think I would know it by heart because of how many events that we've done. Laura Eisenhower has been a huge part of my life since 2010. Created so many events with Laura, and not only is she, I would say, an activist connected to the cosmic Gaia Sophia, a galactic historian, so passionate about assisting people and releasing these old wounds and coming into a greater understanding of who they are. She's also an astrologer, and she comes from so many different angles in order to really dissect the wisdom and the truth of what is going on behind the scenes when it comes to the corruption in the world, and also what comes to our galactic ancestry and what has occurred for us to be who we are today, in order for us to realize who we truly are and how we can transcend to a higher octave. But one thing I love about Laura so much is I don't think I've ever met anybody as passionate, where she really, really is so much in alignment with her belief system that she really feels and cares for the world and wants to assist people. And at this point, I think, Laura, we've done, I don't know, maybe 100+ events together, and your information keeps unfolding. So Laura is here because not only is she a huge part of Portal to Ascension, but she's at the New Living Expo with us. She's at the Mystery School at Sea with us this year. She's going to be in Glastonbury with us. We're doing a lot together. And Laura, I just love you so much. Thank you for joining us today.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, you guys. This is incredible. The music was beautiful. Thank you, Scott, and just all you beautiful souls out there listening, and my fellow, speakers, panelists. It's so great to be in your company. Yeah, well, happy Fire Horse, everyone. Oh man, there's so much that really kicked off this year, this Chinese New Year. Well, we started with the new moon in Capricorn with the stellium of planets, Mars, Mercury, Venus moving into Aquarius, and then Pluto, of course, in Aquarius, and the sun moon, right, on the new moon. And then the stellium moving into Aquarius and this full moon in Leo. So the creative energy literally is full throttle. And so people feeling into the horse energy are very much like raring to go, right? Some who have allowed, and I don't want to say allowed in this context, in a sort of sounding detrimental way, but that allowed themselves to sort of step back or not take initiation or move forward with some things. Sometimes it's just not the right timing, but if a person is still holding on to that, though, particularly if it meant shutting down your truth, or if it meant, I don't know, holding back because you didn't feel others were ready, or you were afraid of what others might think, your nervous system is not going to be able to handle this year very easily unless you go for it. Doesn't mean, drop boundaries and go wild with it, even though wild horses, hello. It's tempering and regulating the nervous system, and knowing when the signals are coming in to take action versus rest, knowing which vibration is yours, your authenticity, your truth, and having that antenna and connection to your higher self and intuition really fine-tuned with, all the good things, rest, good nutrition, so that you can withstand the signal that's trying to come in and infiltrate with a lot of noise, a lot of chaoticness, a lot of intensity connected to what's going on in the outer world. I mean, this is a prophesized time of ascension, and that's for a reason. All three outer planets are in harmony with each other. Pluto moving into Aquarius, a completely new sign. Uranus just went direct this week, actually probably yesterday or today, moving into Gemini from Taurus. So that was a very, very important passage. Very long. Outer planets hang out in a sign for a long time, 8 years, 9 years, Uranus. Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years, counting retrogrades. And, Neptune and Pisces moving into Aries, conjunct Saturn. These all are generational planets. They move slow. So we're talking like a decade, give or take retrogrades, right? For each of them. So the Saturn Neptune is an opportunity for the lid of Saturn, the tyranny, the control mechanisms, outer authority to begin to lift, where humans are really stepping into divine authority, personal self-authority. And that authority with Neptune comes with really, really standing strong in what your dreams and visions are. And with that horse energy, putting it into motion, speaking it, sharing it. The Mars-Mercury conjunction that's shifted slightly since the new moon and full moon is very much about the magician archetype and putting words into action. So the Leo full moon being fire and the fire horse, our words are so potent and powerful. And Neptune's just ready. Now Saturn, the lid is lifted, and now Saturn, the law of structure, is the container for the multidimensional. So as this conjunction happens, solar plexus, Aries, Neptune, Saturn, with Pluto, Uranus forming harmonious aspects, all in a triangle, all three outer planets, which hasn't happened in a long time. And then the Saturn, Aries, I don't think that's happened since like the 1700s. I don't have the exact date there, but I know a lot of people have been talking about this. It's been a long time. And what this really represents is the divine human. So this ascension window, because it's an internal process, is the recognition of being an embodied divine human. And in that divinity, we're empowered, but we're empowered not from the recklessness of the old Mars. And I'm not saying that you guys are carrying it or the audience is carrying it, but the negative ego that's been compartmentalized, that has not been a vehicle for the multidimensional to express itself through, where Saturn has been the container with a lid on it, and it's been about whatever's outside of us and what we're being told. And I think a lot of the listeners and many of us, if not all, the panelists that are here tonight, we've been rebels. We don't really play by the rules, but understanding the law of structure is understanding what are the disciplines and responsibilities we want. Where can the law of limitation serve us so that we can thrive, so that we can manifest through the law of structure, our dreams, our visions, things surrounding, goals, projects. Capricorn, Saturn is very much about climbing the hill, the goat symbolism, and not giving up and recognizing the baby steps that it takes to sometimes reach success. Sometimes it can test our patience, but we have to understand that Saturn builds a root system as the law of structure. That root system is very much the anchoring of the tree of life template in our own structure, the physical body, the physical vessel, the skeletal system, the teeth, everything that relates to, Saturn. So the South Node being Virgo, another earth sign ruled by Mercury, is that structure accommodating our dreams? How is that Virgo energy, which is ruled by Mercury, which is an earth sign, in the South Node position, which is going to get activated by the eclipses, even though, this first one's in Aquarius, where are we noticing our mind talking to our body, old programs, ancestral loops, trauma loops? Where is the dialogue still throwing us off? Where is it causing defeat, exhaustion, or being energetically drained? Where do we need the boundaries so that the law of structure is now a door that can open and close without the lid being smacked down on it, but open for the dream and visions to manifest through with discernment and self-authority, which means that resonates, and what doesn't resonate, is the way you're gauging things, because we're really protecting the bullshit meter, that antenna that helps us to see through deception. And when we're exhausted, when we're in this loop of negative self-talk, if we're externalizing everything, then we're at the mercy of what's outside of us. So this particular juncture is really all about not allowing your creative energy to be siphoned and harvested and taken from you. Is a very strong time for the empaths to really get grounded with what you can and cannot handle when it comes to other people's energy. When do you need to close the door? When do you need to honor that downtime? How can you nurture the water element and then the fire, taking action and making things happen, but also allowing yourself in that law of structure, the space to feel the sacred space. And I kind of joke, and my friends and I back in Australia, we call it the sacred space program instead of the secret space program. The sacred space. What is your sacred space? What does that look like? And sometimes we take on, other people's stuff. I think a lot of people are also feeling the awkwardness of this awakening for those that are sort of shocked, but were in denial, maybe previous. And now there's no turning back. There's no way to really run from it. I think there's sort of an awkwardness and chaoticness in the field right now where we don't want to really be right about some of the stuff we've called out, but there's so much to celebrate about the things that we've been passionate about, which is the emerging divine human, where that transparency and ability to look at our wounds is nothing to be ashamed of. It doesn't have to be miserable. It's not about the struggle. It's about the joy of really, really looking at it and having a sense of community so that we can just lay it out on the table and know that your friends got your back, that you can fully be yourself and not pretend it doesn't exist, not try and hide it away because it doesn't seem enlightened, but to really look at it for what it is, because it traces back into our galactic history. It traces back, to past lives. And I just think there's so much celebration connected to the healing process. And when we turn the wounds into wisdom and the pain into purpose, I think it's just really, incredible to bond with other people. And then we might notice many fall away. They don't want that transparency. But the thing is, it's going to come, this unity consciousness is going to come a lot more through that unconditional love and that mutual love and respect, more so than the information or agreeing on the information. Even though Uranus has moved into Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, similar to Virgo, also ruled by Mercury. Going back to Virgo, the South Node with the North Node, Pisces, Neptune, and we got the Saturn, Neptune conjunction. Are our words, activating? Are we speaking from our higher self? Are our words allowing the magician to work its magic? Are we noticing synchronicities? Because if we keep looping, we'll notice more that reinforces the anxiety or the tension or even the trauma. So it's a really, really powerful time to check oneself and say, my instrument does not have to be tuned to that, because the ramifications of getting in those loops is going to have a lot more of a detrimental impact on the physical body than maybe years previous. It really depends on, a person, but this is to our favor because it's taking us to the breaking point where nothing but truth remains, nothing but your authentic self. The body can no longer withstand unresolved traumas, ancestral patterns, societal programmings, negative self-talk, fear, tension that gets shoved back down and internalized. It's about having a voice. And in that Neptune Saturn, it's going to help people really step up into integrity, that people will catch themselves and correct themselves a lot quicker, because the frequency of Uranus and Pluto is saying now is the time for the growth period. Humans that have feared those growth periods because society wants to medicate it. Oh, you're moving through too much emotion, or there's anger, or there's anxiety. Here, take this, make it go away. It's about being more present and being more creative with it in order to unearth the treasures that exist deep within. So it'll be very, very hard to not go in that direction without noticing that the body is rejecting anything but the truth. And those people that are not comfortable with their own truth might panic a little bit more, might reach out for something outside of themselves in a much more accelerated way. But what the gift of 2019, 2020 was, is it really safe to look out there? It's safe to look out there when you're walking the path with other healers that want you to find yourself, that don't want that dependency bond, that want you to thrive, that can help you to get there, to help remind you of who you are. And I just see and feel a lot of doctors, a lot of teachers, a lot of people that are in these positions of authority are going to step back and be like, I don't have to push this on people. I don't have to have them regurgitate this to get a good grade. I think people are really going to walk away from the system because their soul is going to reject the way it's been, the way we were raised, the things that we're overcoming. I mean, I think we're recovering a lot from the school systems and the way maybe our parents or friends made us feel for being a little out there. And now it's like, whoa, okay. Or maybe you're just stepping into that right now and you are very grounded and practical. The beauty is we're helping each other switch on what's dormant. So we're earth, air, fire, water, ether. The nucleic acids of our DNA are elemental. The fifth element, ether, is connected to the mitochondrial DNA, the return of the mother, the ether, that energy that purifies our inner elementals, that actually repairs, DNA, because it was never really damaged. It was either dormant or it had an instruction set that the body didn't like, which caused disease, whether that's passed down generation to generation or you face it in your lifetime. We're really starting to awaken to the epigenetics, how the mind talks to the body, that polarity integration of Virgo to Pisces, the restoration of the tree of life, the knowledge being self-knowledge instead of, social engineering and outer knowledge. It has to meet our truth, our discernment. And I think we're going to see a lot of people have radical changes, radical healing changes, a lot more miracles as the norm instead of an anomaly. And it's just going to be a powerful time for people to say, I'm walking away from this system. I'm going to take my skills and abilities and talents, my passion, my integrity, and I'm going to go over here or expand the institutions that they're already a part of, to see what kind of change can happen there. And if you're silenced, if you're not being respected for that, if you find that the environment becomes more toxic, whether that's relationships or career or job or just anything where you live, it's a time to reevaluate. Hold that sacred space for yourself to really listen and honor that signal, because what's targeted is definitely the Uranus energy, psyops, false flags, trauma loops. So we can't think. We're in fight or flight. We're in panic, or we're at the mercy of what's in the news. And I think, the powerful sovereign co-creator of our future and the anchoring of this timeline that emerges from deep within us is going to be much more celebrated, much more known, much more claimed, without feeling not embarrassed, but like it's too much, or it because it's going to be the medicine that a lot of people struggling right now are going to be looking for. They might have kind of laughed at it before, but something's surging within them that I think is bringing a lightness to their journey, helping them to see that it's not all that serious. You can heal a lot more rapidly than you can imagine. We can override bioweapons, dark technology with frequency, with love, with integrity, and understand that we are capable of creating alchemy, which takes us from the lead of the heaviness of Saturn into the gold, restoring the sun, restoring our relationship with structure and cosmic and natural law. And in doing that, we see the earth respond to us. We clear our inner elementals and we see that reflection. We might see, that old timeline. We might see some of the ships that held that artificial timeline up, sinking. We were never really on it. But I just see this bifurcation with a bridge between the two splits of a lot of individuals rerouting to exist in a much more beautiful, embodied, conscious, coherent way. Because that old timeline, you're not, or people aren't, going down with that ship. Just a programming might, a belief system might, something that the death process of Pluto is helping them to release. The question is, do you want to emerge in rebirth through that portal, right? Portal to ascension, instead of, have to dissolve that programming and maybe have a major death crisis. But if that's the case, it never ends, is the beauty, So I think worrying about our friends and family is going to begin to fall away. The hierarchy of consciousness, which doesn't exist, won't see things based in who's asleep and who's awake. It's about the heart. It's about the soul-centeredness. The information is not going to matter as much. And so that's how I kind of see the year ahead, that we'll agree to disagree. The information is secondary. It's the energy, it's the frequency, it's the love. And I think a lot of people are going to repair relationships or walk away. But, putting yourself first doesn't mean your service to self. It means that the vessel of your human vehicle, is a temple that you will tend to so that it can be operating at its most optimal level. And let's help each other get there. And then, wow, we get to all tune up and be this unity field that cannot be punctured anymore. It cannot be fragmented and fed on by dark agendas and nefarious beings in human form or in the astral archons. Fragmentation, when it's healed, just like a wound or injury, can get, we can only get stronger for it. Neglected and when we're in denial of it, it can become infected, it can get worse, and it can cause more and more problems. So I just see the flip of the switch when it comes to wounds. How can we get closer together in the face of this versus more fragmented, more divided, and more unconscious to where they're trying to, trigger us, to see who's the biggest victim and who is going to act out instead of, step into that spiritual maturity of, what it is we each have to heal. That we came here to heal. We came here to walk through inversion, to invite it back to source. We aren't, needing to define ourselves based in it. We need to understand, the blessing of the challenges that we've manifested in our lives. We wouldn't have manifested it unless we embodied the solution. And now I just feel it pouring through so many people. And if it's not pouring through that, those reminders and those helpers, Ascension agents will be there for a hug, for a recognition. And it's a completely different sort of paradigm compared to, seeking that guru or joining something that might ask you to shut up and just listen. And right now it's just about the freedom of expression, living your truth, and dancing in rhythm to the ascension energies, which the earth is seeded to take us into. The planetary intelligence knows exactly what it needs to heal its own system, just like we do. And the two go hand in hand. So I think it's very, very exciting because it's not like, is it going to happen? Are we on the path? We are the path. It's encoded in us. It always has been. And set it free, liberate. There's nothing, holding back, because once you cut that relationship, to any sort of dependency outside yourself, even if it's daunting, you will see something emerge from you that will be so familiar and such a reunion that you'll wonder why you ever left. It's a time of coming home, not adopt this belief. No, what is your truth? And with mutual love and respect, our differences are not a problem, because true oneness is diversity and harmony. So.
Wow. I've got a couple questions for you, but I want to read a couple comments. And Laura, so much wisdom just came out. Don't go away. We're not done with you. I want to read some of the comments and then have a couple questions. Celeste writes, "It's love that we show in the fruits of our actions and words that will reveal the truths of our being. We are the path." Really reflecting what you just said, Laura. Omoshar writes, "Profoundly clear message, Laura, and sage advice. Thank you." Diara writes, "Yes, we are dealing with the festering now to dig deeper into what we must heal." Celeste writes, "We can override." Susan Bloomquist writes, "Laura, you've transmitted so very much information. May these things all come to pass." Ayada has a quote that she took from what you just said, because you said so many things. So I appreciate the people that wrote down some of the key words. Ayada wrote down, "The body is rejecting anything other than the truth." Yes. Diara, another quote from you, "Wounds into wisdom and pain into purpose." Rick writes, "Records show that Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0° Aries hasn't occurred since somewhere around 553 BC. And Laura is such a competent astrologer. She's sharing so much because there are other amazing things here. So thank you for bringing that up, Rick. Just a few more comments. Ayada wrote, "Laura, that was incredible. I truly resonated with everything you shared, and you've articulated the current path with greater clarity." Neil writes, "Wounds into wisdom and pain into purpose. Nothing but truth remains. Nothing but your authentic self remains." So
That's ascension to me.
a lot of people resonating. Let's talk about the bifurcation, because that does seem to be, it's something I resonate with. I think a lot of us can feel it. What's your take about the bifurcation? Because some people believe that it's happening every moment, every instant. There's a kind of the timelines are changing. Others believe that there's going to be a significant moment in which there's going to be some people will experience an apocalypse. Other people will experience all of a sudden being on an alternate planet Earth that's rainbows and unicorns. What's your take on it, Laura?
I I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think it's the same for everybody. That's why the constant picture that I always get is here's the split, but there's a bridge. Not everybody's going to run back and forth across the bridge, right? Some are called to go to where the split off is of sort of the artificial trajectory, where humans are becoming more disconnect from their soul, where the weaponization of AI is having more detrimental effects on them versus the use of AI that works with consciousness and you still remain sovereign, because the technology isn't the enemy. The tools were never the enemy. The planets were never the enemy. Dark Saturn was not because of the planet Saturn. It's because of the dark technologies based in inversion and, putting like the ether dodecahedron platonic solid in reversal to create this, heavy density. So it really depends on the individual's and where their consciousness is at, right? Some have agreements to stay, some have agreements to leave right now. Some have just come into the incarnational wheel and descended from a pre-fall consciousness to help enliven and awaken humanity. Some have had many, many, many lifetimes, maybe lost connection with it, but it doesn't mean they don't have those origins. We all come from source. Everybody's at a different phase and stage, and their agreements, our agreements, aren't not all the same. So for some, they might be like, all right, time to go back to the unicorns. For others, where are the unicorns? I want to go back. But are we battling with something? Do we need to revisit our agreements? Because I don't feel something's in charge, but there's something to resonate with and to have a little bit more trust about. I don't think our higher self wants anything for us that feels stifling and feels, limiting, or takes us into a doom or gloom that we're stuck in or enslaved in. It might have a willingness to shift physical matter from sort of the underbelly back up again. Think of all the survivors of MK Ultra or SRA, people that are breaking their programmings, people that are really, doing inner work, or who have awakened to their starseed mission as a child. Maybe they weren't a part of that. Regardless, the minute you awaken, you begin to change everything, and it just plays out differently, because when your intent is really strong, when you're embodying your truth, you can have a dialogue with creation and work with it. I just don't feel anybody is stuck or at the mercy of anything. I might have a commitment to stay on Earth and see it through till I'm in my 90s. Maybe won't stay that long, but it never ends is the thing. And sometimes I revisit agreements that weren't coming in through birth. They are agreements that I made in this lifetime. And those can be revisited. Everything can be revisited. The thing is, the mind is very fluid, and physical matter catches up with what the mind and the energy holds, and it reflects it back. So choose your own adventure. Like, what do you want? And with consistency, the magician energy remains stable. And those manifestations come in because of consistency. The minute doubt comes in, fear, that's not possible, I can't do this, or I agreed to this and now I'm stuck. I think that, is the mental prison that people are ready to break. So for some, maybe unicorns. For others, maybe they're the cosmic EMT pulling people out of that artificial trajectory that's kind of a sinking ship, reminding them of who they are. Other people might not even recognize that timeline, and there's nobody in their life that vibrates on that artificial trajectory anymore. But some of those individuals end up being spirit guides, or they have past lives where they remember, and not so much the physical form, but being a guide. So it really depends. And some might just want a vacation, like, okay, been mission, it's been all about mission for thousands of years. We've been in dark cycles of history for so long. This planet, I think, is very unique in how long it's taken to bring all this up to the surface and how infiltrated it's been. And some might just be like, all right, I've done enough. It really, really depends, I feel. And I don't feel the vehicle of self is the ultimate authority, but if it's not compartmentalized and it can hear the higher self and intuition, there won't be the feeling of being lost or made to do something you don't want to do. So as long as that dialogue is strong, I feel like we have a lot of free will and a lot of ability to enjoy our creative visions and dreams and adventures without, because sometimes, the conscious or the ego mind battles against something that's actually really good for the person. They just are too attached. They don't trust life. They don't trust the upgrade. They think it's a doom thing or misfortune. So we got to just change the dialogue. Then once we have that foundation set, I think the sky's the limit.
What are some of your practices for raising the vibration? What are some of the things you do? And what are some of the practices you suggest for our audience?
I'm not the most disciplined person. Practices. Well, I just catch myself, I pay attention to my dreams. I pay attention to my self-talk. And I allow my emotions to flood or rain, like the clouds rain. We wouldn't want to shut up the clouds and tell them not to rain. I know I say this a lot in my talks, but we have to be real with ourselves.
Mhm.
We're elemental beings, so we don't want to internalize or block anything. And if we do, it might mean that there's a better place for us to let out whatever. I kind of joke about warning villagers when the volcano's going to blow, when the fire element's really strong in me and it's maybe not so pretty. And it's just like, I need to just get something off my chest. But I wouldn't want to share that online, even though, God forbid, sometimes things sneak up and I have to delete them. But I think the most important thing is that we're true to ourselves. We realize that dis-ease and discomfort is an opportunity to get closer to ourselves. We haven't learned that. We've learned to fear it and give that power to somebody else to define it for us. So I'm just radically honest with myself. If I feel I messed up, I try and correct. I work a lot with the water element. I take baths every day. I do intermittent fasting. I just do cleanses as much as I possibly can. And the physical, is one aspect, but what about the emotional? I remember being a very emotional teenager and my mom, she's like, oh, you're depressed. You should go on medication. Something's really wrong with you. And I just decided I'm not going to believe that. That's not my truth. I honor these emotions. I honor what it has to say. And then I started to write poetry and look at Neil, right? And I started to write and I started to listen to myself. I started to listen to the things that somebody could misdiagnose or use as a way to define me. And still to this day, I just refuse it. It's not always fun to feel so much, but I'd rather feel than not. So every day, I look at the astrology here and there. I don't, always check it, but I try and, understand what's going on inside of me and raise it to the highest level of understanding so that that fire element is passion and, action and drive instead of misplaced anger that has, where to go. I work with a lot of clients. They're angry at things, but the things they're angry at are usually the things that they're here to lead and lead by example about. If it's taking action, realizing that our internal self is giving us everything we need. Our physical body and all its symptoms is giving us everything we need to know exactly why we're here. Let's give it the respect it deserves. So even pain, I'll talk to pain. Why are you here? Any kind of, is just like, okay, I want to learn about you. I want to get to know you better. I want to love you instead of self-rejection and, self-criticism and self-destructive behaviors, which I've slipped into. So forgiveness of myself and just finding that space to just really connect. Yeah. And then I just feel like, wow, I just shed so much. I gave myself that respect. Wow. Maybe I didn't get it growing up, but it's okay. I don't need somebody outside of me to give me that for me to give it to myself. And I give that to others. I'm not going to hold you in a box. Who you were back then and who you are today could be a drastically different thing. Let's talk. And just let all this bring us closer together instead of further apart, whether that's on the macro level as a humanity or personally with our own, wounds. And sorry if that's kind of rambling, but that's kind of how I do it.
No, it's wonderful. Last question, then we'll let you go. Obviously, you brought up epigenetics. We all are dealing more and more with our ancestral um, ancestral history, and you have an especially unique ancestral history. What are some of the ways that you are working with kind of your ancestral history and your epigenetics?
Well, I'm all about the truth, even if I don't like it. I feel like Eisenhower has always been close to me. I mean, I felt him when I was a child and I didn't realize he was well known or he had been a general. I mean, he was wearing a military uniform. I'm like, what is this? I'm just a little kid. And he was always kind of nudging me like to dig deeper. This is not it, right? When I did think I had landed somewhere, I would communicate it and be like, hey, maybe he did this, or I don't, but being honest about the journey, I think helped me to recognize the synchronicities and connected a lot of dots, which changed everything. So I wrote it in my book, but I didn't just write about, what I wanted it to be. I shared many, many different perspectives for the reader to then discern and decide. I've learned to not overly identify, but yeah. So the epigenetics for me, how does the mind talk to the body? When I was being blasted with a lot of bad negative mail, your great grandfather sold us out to the grays, after a decade of that and a lifetime of that, maybe later in my later years, not like since I was a little kid, when I was able to read, the mail and I was more of a public person, I was talking to myself a lot of self-negation. Like, how could he do that? Like, I hate I hate where I come from. Like, I don't want to be related to this person. This is too much. And I'm not proud of that. I had my moments where, I feel very misunderstood, or I've felt misunderstood. And I'm like, it's not about anything outside of me though. This is my process. This is my soul growth. And when I realized like, wow, he set up countermeasures and he actually did so much for humanity, and his hands were tied, and his story is different than other people in our history. And their hands might've been tied. They might've been, but he did everything he possibly could. So, but my identity is not based in him. If he was the biggest schmuck ever, I would expose it. If he did great things, it's like, we have something to look forward to. But the best message I ever got was that we're the leaders. So the pressure of I'm related to this man, and all this pressure is on me, and I trying to bust down these false narratives, and I'm all about the unity, and I don't feel, it's just like, I dropped that a long time ago. And all I see is the leadership and the beauty and the missions of my friends and colleagues. And there was a voice always telling me, you're going to meet your people. You are going to meet your soul tribe. You're going to meet like-minded people that have gone through whatever they've gone through to land in a very, very similar place. It's not about relatives, although it plays a part. It's about, what you do with, what you know. And I don't have to take on the responsibility or pressure. I don't have to live up to anything. I don't have to run in shame every time there's a criticism about him or me, and sit there and process it and turn the sword on myself just in case. And I don't have to have it be all perfect to be like, hey, nobody's ever made any mistakes and we're just unscathed. It's just all BS. We have overcome so much as a humanity. So I guess, yeah, it's never been about me. I just see the goodness, and I'm just so in awe of so many, people in my life that I just feel really relaxed and very grateful, that I'm loved and appreciated, even if it was a worst case scenario, that I've found some, real friends, regardless of the information. Yes, Eisenhower, is a good man. If he was pure evil, would that mean anything about my soul? Some of the strongest souls are there to shift, the highest level of dark also. So I see the value and beauty in every single soul. But there has to be that flip of a switch that you're ready to stand in your truth. You're ready to accept or look at things that aren't easy. And you're here to be the alchemist and turn that lead into gold. And we have to love each other for that, not hold each other to our past mistakes or what our ancestors did, whether they were good or bad.
That is such a beautiful response. And I think we all can, take what you said, learning to just accept what is, know to thine own self be true, Shakespeare said, and hold our head high. And by the way, based on what I've read, Ike Eisenhower actually was an incredible man. And I wish that the current administration had the same values and the same dedication to service, dedication to the people.
Well, he loved human. Like the inspiration was in in humanity. That's what made him a good man, because he saw the beauty of the human soul and he wanted to protect that.
What always stands out for me was how his life changed when he walked through and saw the concentration camps, and when he saw what humans could do to humans. That was his epiphany. That's when he had a real shift of everything. What can I do for the rest of my life to prevent this from ever happening again?
Absolutely. And I saw those pictures and family albums growing up, and it's just like, wow, it was a lot to process.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I
Well,
really
Laura, thank you. I want to let people know briefly how they can get more of you. Her website is cosmicgaia.org, cosmicgaia.org. And that's where all things Laura Eisenhower can be found. And thank you, Laura, so much for being with us.
thank you. I look forward to hearing everybody else. Thanks for having me, you guys.
All right, God bless. I'm going to move the Global Peace Tribe announcements to a little bit later because I think it's time for some Omoshar music. So we are going to go straight to my co-pilot. Take it away, brother.
as we take the next steps together, walking tall, no disguise. Here we are again, loving all we see. Lift each other up, let each other be. Healing all the past, healing you and me. Loving all that's gone, loving what's to be. The awakening world is rising through our hearts, through our lives, as we take the next steps together, walking tall, no disguise. Nothing left to say, nothing left to do. Let your spirit shine, let your soul on through. Time is what we have, time to think anew. Let inspiration flow, let inspiration through.
Needless to say, I tend to have an especially fond place in my heart for that song. Thank you so much. And it is true. Our awakening world is rising. And that's what really all of our presenters are all about, is helping us to really, really rise. So thank you so much. And quick question, I'm sure, what stood out for you in what you just heard from Laura?
Holy smoke! She was just speaking, pinging my heart straight away, and I could not doubt anything that's happening in her life, that's happening in my life, because every day now I am literally confronted with my past, my epigenetics, my programming, and it's coming up in my face rapid fire. Maybe a year or two ago, it was like one or two things a day, but now it's one or two things an hour. You know, it's not. You know, I've actually said, to a certain extent, bring it on, make it a little faster, because I'm ready now. I have my ping pong bat out, and I had a major trigger today, something that came up, and it immediately pressed a button that made me feel really small. Yet I had the acuity of mind to go, what is that? And basically ask, what are you, and what are you doing to hold me back? It was like a self-sabotage program. And so what has been said by Neil and what has been said by Laura, holy smoke, it's just pinged me in places which know that I'm on the right track. I'm with the right people and the right tribe, and none of us here is to outvoice anybody else. None of us has the ultimate truth, because that's can only be spoken from ourselves, within ourselves. However, I am truly grateful for Laura's sharing, and it really took a couple of onion skins off of my consciousness. It's it's a challenging time, and there's a part of me that doesn't look to the outer world at all. But I have had a couple of sneak peeks lately, and one thing shall I say it? Yeah, I'm going to say
Yes.
it. There was something that I did sneak into today and watch was the Canadian Prime Minister's Davos um, speech. It was 15 minutes long. YouTube, Canadian Prime Minister's Davos speech, and he's the only political leader I've ever heard speaking the truth that could be spoken on this global Peace Tribe show, The Awakening World Tonight. And so if you ever, he's the words that came out of his mouth, let me have hope for the outer world, so to speak. But within myself, within our group self here, I know that we don't even need hope. We just need to stay on track and keep on peeling off the onion skins, and realizing, for me, realizing that probably 80-90% of what's been in my face is not even mine. It's just programming. And so I'm truly grateful that I am at a place in myself that it took me about an hour to get over my major bummer today, my self-sabotage, but I did. I turned it around. And then I started tuning into what songs to bring to the show tonight. And as you've heard, they are always on target, because I managed to get into a gentle space again and feel. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to share that, and thank you for being honest about your process.
It's a deal, and we all see each other in these settings. But for me to stay on track, I have to. I'm choosing to police everything 100%, and it does not falter. I sometimes get really annoyed with myself, and then I realize, hang on, why am I even judging myself? And so it goes, Scott.
Oh, thank you. Uh, well, we move on. God bless you. Thank you for sharing all of that. Thank you. Peter Benson is with us, and I want to just acknowledge that Viviane Chauvet was going to be one of our featured speakers tonight, and she's just not feeling well. And God bless her, she was ready to come on and do her thing, and we saw her in the pre-show meeting, and it was like, Viviane, get some rest. So we're going to play later on in the evening. We're going to play a recording from one of her previous times on the show. But her wonderful husband, Peter, is with us, and he is also a remarkable person. Imagine being a kind of a normal human being. You're having kind of a regular, normal life. And all of a sudden, you have this incredible awakening. And we're going to, hear a little bit about Peter's awakening. And your whole life shifts. And he was a mechanic, a technician, and he had this incredible connection to his higher self and the angelic realm. And he discovered that he had angelic origins as part of Archangel Michael's army of light. Well, this led to his connection to Vivian and, of course, a very new direction of life. And guided by Archangel Michael himself and the Ascended Masters, Peter has been guided on how to put together what is known as tensor technology. They have palpable healing properties, and his research has led him to build rings, qubits, crystals infused with pendants, Merkaba, healing coils, and sound frequency amplifiers that do all sorts of things. They even they restore people suffering from PTSD. So truly connected to other realms, and living with an Arcturian hybrid. Welcome to the awakening world, Peter. And it's good to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me on. And yes, Vivian wish she could be here. She's just not feeling well. It's the annual flu came through the house and it hit me first and it hit her pretty hard. Just she hasn't gotten over it yet.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're with us. Please tell us a little bit about your awakening experience, because you have one of the most interesting awakening experiences of anyone most of us, probably everybody here, has had some sort of an epiphany, but yours was especially unique. So tell us about who you were and then what happened.
Well, it went through multiple stages. Went to trade school, became a mechanic, did that for 15 so years, almost 18 years. Went back to school for computer science, got a job at a big tech company, was there for 21 years. Life changes happen, family restructuring kind of thing. And had to rediscover who I was and what's going on. Started looking into energy healing, and I found Slim Sperling online, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Tensor technology. So in my free time between work and the family and kids, started doing builds of tensor rings. And I was actually doing finger rings at the time when I first started, and rings for crystal balls, brass balls for sound healing. And that was the first sign that we actually have something that would really work. As we were doing a sound bath, and I brought 4 rings to the sound bath. I got a text message 2 days later saying I need 10 more because she had the full octaves. She had the higher and lower chakras. She had 14 bowls. So she needed 10 more rings to actually make that work, because it changed the way they all functioned. They resonated longer, louder. They were just impressive. It would fill the energy just changed and shifted, and it filled the room more. So that was like, okay, this stuff really does work. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And going through that shift in my personal life, going through the energy healing and stuff, there was one session where I was having energy healing, and we were wrapping up the normal things, well, this is what we found. This is what's going on. We were just about done. And she goes, we have Metatron here. He has a message for you. I'm like, who's that? I had no idea. I was an engineering technician. I'm not really thinking about archangels or anything like that. And he basically came in and said, well, you need to make anklets out of a tensor ring. I'm like, okay, I can work that. Not a problem. And it has to have these 5 crystals in it. I'm like, okay, I know 3 of them. I don't know 2 of them. We'll find those. And it has to be encased in copper mesh. So long story short on that one, it took about a year and a half of trial and error prototyping to actually build them out, and to come and find out through, experimentation with other folks trying them on, that these things literally change your entire torus field that Heart Math can actually, has actually documented. It turns that donut torus field into a shield because it blocks the inputs from the top and bottom of your field. So it basically turns your entire giant torus into a shield, and it blocks all emotional energies and other energies from getting into you. It doesn't permanently block it. You can choose to feel things outside of it, but that's intention. And that's what these tools are. They are intention tools. So that was the very beginning.
Incredible. And I know that your work has really grown. And I see here that you're actually even providing technology to responders. Tell us about that.
Well, I've been trying to connect with more responders over time, and Responders Resilience, we did an interview with them. And the tools are the one that we're really working with for first responders is the Archangel Michael for empowerment, to give them clear focus, give them energetic protection from others, and allow clarity of emotions. And then the other one would be the Archangel Chamuel, which helps purge emotional baggage and the like. So if you have any PTSD, trauma, and that kind of energy that you built into you, that pendant helps purge. It will literally pull things out of you. Um, and anybody that has experienced it will actually tell you, it's like all you do is you put it on, you connect to it, synchronize it to you, and tell it to go to full power. And if you have anything that's on the surface, you will start literally experiencing it on that moment, literally almost immediately. And that's when you talk to it and use intentions. It's like, okay, do I need to relive this now? No, then just pull it out. I don't want to go through that again. Thank you. And it'll actually help process your energies out of your body. And that's part of the process, is you're teaching you how to manage your energy and how to manage the emotions that you've stored away instead of dealt with.
Wow, beautiful. So, kind of from your unique vantage point, tonight we're really talking about the awakening world. We're talking about the rising of consciousness.
Yeah.
What's your perspective about it? And what do you say to people that are cynical because of what, they're seeing in the mainstream news? What are some of your perspectives, and what do you say to people that are feeling hopeless or afraid?
Well, the hopeless and afraid, that's actually internal fear. And we've had folks talking about the emotions coming up, and it's coming out more and more. Right now, you need to really focus on what is best for you. Focus on you. If you can raise your frequency, you will end up on a different timeline to where you won't have to deal with the lower frequency any longer. So focus on yourself. I mean, there are people out there championing all these different causes, and they're doing these things, and it's all external instead of focusing on self. Focusing on the external is you're focusing on basically you're battling with somebody else working externally. It takes it to a different level. And you need to really focus on yourself. If you can heal yourself, everything around you shifts. It's the timeline thing. I know we talked, was a discussion about it when we first opened up, is the multiple timeline effect. It's like there are multiple timelines, and there are souls, and you have to understand it's like there are people in this audience that may say, well, I want to be on the ascension timeline, but your higher self, your soul says, it's like, yes, you may want to be there and you may be ready for it, but you know what? You might be ready to be a teacher in the middle timeline to help people deal with it, or the lower timeline to help understand and raise or elevate other souls that are actually not ready to be doing the other timelines yet. So we have to understand it's like your higher goals, your higher self may have a different avenue that you're thinking of right now. So it's just one of those things. It's like we are going through a massive shift on the planet right now, and it's obvious. You can see it. It's everywhere. So it's all personal. How do you view it? Where do you put your energy? Do you put your energy towards a negative aspect, or do you just focus on putting your energy to yourself and raising your frequency and raising your vibration?
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, a wonderful way for people to raise the vibration is through the technologies that Peter has developed, with literally some of the highest archangel energy supporting him and guiding him. And I love the name of your website, energiesofservice.com. Energiesofservice.com. My mentor was Marshall Rosenberg, and my favorite quote from Marshall is that the greatest joy in life is being of service to others.
Yes.
So walk us through a little bit. For example, what is angelic armor?
Angelic armor. There's a gentleman that I work with. He's up in Scottsdale, and he's also part of Michael's Army of Light. And he works in a different aspect of it. He works with more of the darker elements to try to heal and bring more light to the environment. And he was actually looking at my things, and it's like you need to actually put the pendant together with a pair of anklets and call that your armor set because it creates a multi-layered protection of energy fields. So if your anklets are actually going to close down your larger torus field, a pendant creates a barrier right above the skin. So you have two layers of energetic armor. And one of the things you have to understand is these tools are tuning you. You're not putting on something that's going to create something out of the ether. This is teaching your body how to manage its frequencies to create the barriers. So this is the part of it. So when you have anybody that's very, what do you want to call it, empathic, energy sensitive, people that are Wi-Fi sensitive, just so energetically sensitive they can't leave their home, that's when you would really go for like a double Metatron angelic armor set where you're super protected and shielded at the highest level that you could possibly do. Um, and for those in corporate world, it depends on what you're dealing with. Empowerment with like a Michael with anklets, that would help you from dealing with the alpha personalities constantly. Um, and Shamuel, if you're in the middle of PTSD healing, any emotional baggage that you're going through, traumas in your life, that's where Shamuel would come in. And if you're still emotionally sensitive, that's where you'd put on the anklets, where it actually shields you from anybody else's emotions. Then you would actually use the Shamuel to heal you. So
Wow,
it's the combinations.
beautiful. Um, and what else on this website, which is beautiful? Where else would you like me to take people?
No, it's all right here. It's the tools are, it's like right now we're doing gold plated as well, which actually I didn't know how far that would go, but the gold plating actually improves its power by about tenfold. And
Wow,
that's not me stating it. That's from other folks that have actually used them and actually put them on. It's like these things are like 10 times stronger than the other ones are. Um, and we're trying to work with the plating situation because with gold, you have to have the intermediate metal. So you go copper to nickel to gold. We're trying to do palladium. So we're doing copper to palladium to gold and see how those work out, being able to even try to bring it even a higher frequency. So we're doing some, say prototyping right now with palladium. And then as you stop right there, we do have little pendants and they're pet pendants for cats and dogs if you need them. That puppy right there will literally go out on a walk because that's the indoor collar. They have an outdoor collar that has a GPS tracker on it, so in case he decides to run. But as soon as he comes into the house, he'll go to the counter where his collar is and wait for that one to get put back on.
wow. Well, as most of the audience know, I'm a big dog lover, so that touches my heart that there's actually pendants for dogs. That's very beautiful. That's very
Yeah,
cool. And
and
horses.
yes, the full size pendants for like people pendant size horses. We have videos of this as well. Where one of our clients actually was using a Michael pendant on it. And if you're familiar with horses, they really express their emotions through their like chuffing. She was going around the body with the Michael, and you could just tell that the horse was just relaxing and the energy was just releasing from the animal. And it was just, you could actually just see it. By the time he was done, the horse's neck was down, just kind of like relaxed.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for the
Yeah.
incredible work that you're doing. And is there anything else you'd like for our audience to know?
Oh, let's see. Viv and I, we're going to be traveling all over the place this year. So I know we're going to be going to the conference with Neil, the New Living Expo in April. So we'll be up there.
Good. I look forward
Um,
to seeing you there. We'll be doing all of our shows that whole weekend. We'll do a whole series of Awakening World shows that weekend from the expo.
oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep, we're doing that. And then we are working with Neil. We have hopefully a big surprise coming for next year that we're working on. we'll keep that one quiet for now, but it's going to be big. It's going to be fun.
Wow, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Peter, for being with us. Please make some chicken noodle soup for Vivian or whatever goes best for an Arcturian hybrid. And take good care of her and know that we love you both and appreciate you both so very much.
Yes, thank you, Scott. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.
You too.
Well, one of the new things we're doing this year, it's a new year and we're doing new things, is that we are once every week or two highlighting members of the Global Peace Tribe, giving you a chance to meet some of the people that maybe you only see dancing and moving and grooving. The guest that we're going to be honoring tonight is Susan Wooldridge. And she has been with us from the very, 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 very beginning. When we first were doing Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. And she was with us, she says, from our very first show, which makes you and Karen S., the two people that I know for sure were with us since the beginning. And she has written a wonderful book, which I bought from Amazon, called Poem Crazy. And she's got something really, really fun that she's going to share with our audience tonight. So, Susan, take it away. I know you're going to ask people to get out paper and pen, so go ahead and do your thing.
This is so fun, and this is a word ticket I have. This one says invisible, and I realize I've kind of enjoyed being invisible and spinning on the show, but I have to blame Claudia. Claudia, you're here. Nyla, I think, didn't you tell Scott about Poem Crazy? I was kind
Yes,
of
I did. Yes, I did.
Hi,
Yeah,
Nyla.
Claudia, in the beginning, there was Claudia. That's how this all happened.
Well, yeah, I prefer Nyla, but it doesn't matter.
Nyla, well,
Um,
thank you, I think.
yeah, back when I was teaching poetry in the Philly public schools, that was a go-to book. That was a wonderful inspiration.
Thank you, Nyla. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So,
you, Nyla, for starting this. So thank you very
I
much.
love your hat.
Oh,
So
thanks.
while I was listening to Neil, and then I was listening to Laura, I was doing something that I love doing, and I was stealing words. And so, those of you who have paper, grab some paper and a pen. And I love the Statler pens, they're the best. It really helps to have a pen you love, and it helps to have a journal you love. And this is a Nanami, it's made in Japan, and fabulous paper. But what I noticed especially about both Neil and Laura is they were using words that are my favorite words. They're both nouns and verbs. People kind of think that when you're writing poems, you want iridescent, you want fancy words. No, what we want is punch, plug, spin, words that have a little bit of power. And so you can tell if they're noun and verb by if you put two in front of a word, it's a noun, a verb. If you can put the or a in front of a word, it's a noun. So I'm just going to read a few, and I want you to steal these. And while I'm speaking, I want you to gather some words too. And I'm going to read a poem or two also that I brought. But Laura was saying mind, dialogue, divide. You have to put the test on these. The root, to root, the anchor, to anchor, the doom, to doom, the source, to source. So just start paying a little bit of attention to words, because Marshall McLuhan called words momentary deities. We don't even understand where most of them came from. Words they were uttered. I love that word, uttered. They were uttered somewhere mysterious, and we don't know the history of the words. It's really fun to get the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, and look for words. And in my workshops, I give people words. I overwhelm them with words. These are my word tickets. Nyla, you might have seen them in Poem Crazy. I still have this little blue bag full of words. And I also hand out pages from the dictionary. Horrifies librarians, horrifies people when they see that I have this torn apart dictionary. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read my poem First Words, and I want you to steal words while I read. Wantonly steal words. The words came without their numbers. At first, they came 2 by 2, like animals onto the ark. Tangerine came with hustle, splendor with taboo. Some made a little electrical ping when they touched the ground. They hadn't been uttered and were still shiny and intact. Nothing had been broken by them yet. Birds draped words over their bodies like bright stars of Bethlehem. Saffron, celestial, surge, surrender. Their colors were so bright, no one, had anyone been present, could have looked at them directly, as if they'd just come from the sun. I would be ignorant as the dawn. That's Yeats. Words like this kept falling from somewhere, not like rain, though it was raining. Kangaroo, flame, phosphorescent, spin. Words came and wouldn't stop coming. Imbue, terrestrial, seed, soon, in a rush, in wildest light, that first wet morning. And I'll never forget, I was teaching a workshop in a little 4th-grade class in a little town outside of Chico, and this little girl came up to me with her word ticket, and she said, "I got wildest light." So for me, ever since I was a child, the answer has been to play. And school, I went to the University of Chicago Laboratory School, and I'm telling you, it was still impossible. So the only way I could survive was to sort of pretend to be taking notes and be writing in my journal. So this is something I want to give you guys a tip, and then we're going to do a little writing. But I've had a journal since I was 13, and I had a teacher named Mr. Maybe. And then I started taping things in, and now my journal looks like this. And I think you all have to have a journal, because I take a deep breath when I open my journal and I tape things in. I get bored with just words. Petals tend to keep their color. And so I would appear to be listening intently at school. In school, well, I was writing what I wanted. I was pretending that I was listening. And I still do that in boring meetings. And so it's really sneaky. And I'll say this sometimes in an English class, and I say, well, you know, your English teacher is creating a sanctuary for you. So she's okay if you're staring out the window and writing a poem. So anyway, we've got these words. Has anyone gathered words? I can't see everybody. I wish there was a way to see you all.
Well, you can go to gallery view if you
Yeah,
go.
maybe. Oh, that's right. I'll go
Yeah,
to.
if you go to the upper corner,
Yeah.
upper left,
Right.
right-hand corner,
There we go.
and I'll go ahead and go to gallery view for a moment.
Yeah, I'm on gallery view. So raise your hand if you do you have a pen and paper?
Yeah, so if you have words raise your hand like that, computer wise, if possible, because that brings you to the front. Or you could put the words that stood out for you into the chat box.
But first, I'm gonna give you some little lead-ins, and then I'm gonna have you do a little quick writing. And it's amazing how fast these things can come from us. So actually, the first line I want you to write down is "I come from," because we don't really know where we come from. Look what Peter has found out. Look where Vivian comes from. So I wrote down "I come from." And then it's always helpful to write "I am" and "I am not." And I want you to steal some words from this poem I'm reading from a kid in the juvenile hall. His name was Kenny. And he wrote, I am a turquoise circle rolling down a mountain. I'm a drum beating in the rain with no one to hear me. I'm the number 50. So far from the end, and so far from the beginning. I'm what you call life, hard to hold. Now, this is a kid in the juvenile hall. His line, I'm the number 50, so far from the end and so far from the beginning. It's mind-bogglingly brilliant. But it came because he had these words that had been given to him. We get stuck with the words in our head. words can be so limiting. As I said, Marshall McLuhan called them momentary deities. And we get stuck. We've got these words that are circling around in our heads. The circle is a great word. Write that one down. And we that's why it's so fun to make these word tickets. I can't tell you the joy that these have brought me and a lot of other people. Because when you put them together, like here's some of Laura's words, when you put them together arbitrarily, you come up with things like God swing, clock's breath, root anchor guide, finger doubt, because we're bored with the words the way they show up in our minds. We're tired of ourselves. And words can be enormously liberating. They can take you into other realms because we don't even know where they came from. God, said the word. I'm not too biblical, but so I'm sure some of you have some words now. I come from, I am, and I am not. Here's one more short one from a kid in the juvenile hall. These are some of the ones I remember. One little fourth grader wrote, I'm spring with lambs in my field. But a kid in the juvenile hall wrote, I'm a brown gangster colliding with death. I'm a rose slamming love with hate. So
Wow.
powerful. But he needed collide. He needed slam. But what he discovered in those two lines was that he was a rose and he was slamming love with hate. He understood who he was. He said it in that short period. And that's what poems can do. I like to write poems, but I love more to help people discover their poems. And I've never yet come across someone who doesn't have poems in them. And so, yeah, you might as well get poem crazy. It'll take you there. And before I forget, and I just want to mention this too, another kid in the juvenile hall was named Trey, and he cried through the whole first session because he was so afraid he was going to be judged, and because here he was hearing poems, he just wept. And he was a kid who would go up at night in the park with a knife and his bike and rob people. And I had been in Greece, and Odysseus Olitis wrote that he came from a garden of night flowers. And the Greek word for night flower is nichtololudi. And for some reason, I put nichtololudi on the board. And the next day when I came back, Trey, his name was Trey, which means very, he said, put that word back on the board. Nikto, what was that word? Nichtololudi. And I realized, I said, some of us are night flowers. We can't bloom in the day. We're afraid. It's too threatening. And so this kid, I brought and brought up this Scott because I tried nonviolent communication with the kids. I feel because I need, would you be willing? But in the form of poems. And so Trey wrote, and again, steal these words. And then when you write, the more words you have, the better. He wrote, we also wrote, I come from this is a kid in the juvenile hall. I come from the soul of fire. My heart says there are rings of chances. My soul is suddenly traveling in the lights of time. It seems like my soul is visiting a place has never been before. And then I feel like late afternoon light. I am a flight of thunder canyons. Bring me an Arctic snow goose on its flight home. Would you be willing? And this is from the nonviolent communication. Would you be willing to call another breathtaking spring day of rain and snow? We could sleepwalk on the clouds. And some of the kids in the juvenile hall are suicidal. I know of one kid who started writing poems and he stopped being suicidal. It can happen for us. So how many of you have a fair number of words written down? Oh, I'll just assume you do. I'm not like Scott. I'm not as practiced on Zoom, but so write down I come from, I am not, and I love. and then take some of your words. You don't have to make sense. Listening to Byrne, what's his name? David Byrne. Stop making sense. There's a profound dream sense that we can reach in poems. So, I come from a mind, sip, baby step dialogue. These are words that Laura said. I am a rule ship drain fall. I am breaking the pattern power. I am not a sip dialogue switch. I am a clouds catch. Catch words. I love fire brats. That's collect field guides. The field guides of insects are incredible. There's a fire brat. There's the butterflies. There's an Edith's checker spot. There's a death's head hawk moth. I mean, the people naming flowers and butterflies are poets. So I love source. It's a word Laura kept saying. I love a cup dialogue. When I was in Greece, a yoga man said, hold your cup up. And it's also fun to see the words hiding inside of other words. Kids love this. Cup has up in it. Spin has pin and in. Our brains are picking this up. Anyway, Susan. Okay, shut up, Susan. Talking too much.
Susan, it's wonderful, but we do need to get to AJ and Thomas in a moment.
Yeah. So everybody write a minute about what I gave you, and then maybe later play with it a little, and maybe later you'll read to us a little bit. Does that work, Scott?
Wonderful. And I want to read a couple comments, and then there is one question, and also I wanted to hear what Omashar was going to share. So we can kind of keep that all real tight. Lorna wants to know, do you teach poetry classes on Zoom?
Yes.
Aha. All right. So can you put into the chat box how people can reach you for that?
You just, I'm gonna put my phone number because I lose emails, but yeah.
And while you're doing that, Ayada writes, I'm loving everything Susan is sharing. So inspiring, and ideas are running freely through my mind right now, anxious to be released. Dorina Joy writes, boy, I hope I can do this. I am optimistically pronoic, interbeing, co-creating with super cool, creative, crazylicious family here now with Allegria Allegre More. That's, I think, in Italian. So you are inspiring many, many people, and we'll conclude the Susan piece with what Omashar wanted to share.
Susan, so refreshing. I really love it, and especially with all we've been talking about tonight. And I first love words are momentary deities, because it is, they rise and appear, rise and fall. And so tangerine, taboo, pink, saffron, ignorant like the dawn, suddenly my mind said full of promise, wildest light and turquoise. So thank you so much, Susan. You rock. That was beautiful. It is beautiful. We are beautiful.
Susan, thank you so much. This was really fun. And thanks again, Nayla, for making the suggestion. This really worked out well. And, just like Nayla suggested, Susan, if you have suggestions for people that you would like to see spotlighted, like we've spotlighted now the Wild Monk of the Mystic Monastery and Susan Woolridge and the other Susan Bloomquist.
Jeffrey?
Jeffrey, we've highlighted Jeffrey. So who's next? Make your suggestions. You can even put your suggestions into the chat box right now. But I am really excited because two of our favorite people are about to come and join us. And I am, of course, talking about those two gentlemen that speak from source, wearing their new matching. Look at those groovy. I want one of those. Those are the grooviest jackets I have ever seen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, you guys are the best. So most of you know Thomas Workman and AJ Kavanaugh, but for all of our friends watching on YouTube and Facebook, and oftentimes people just kind of spot us and it's like, wow, this is an interesting show. So let me tell you, they are the co-founders of Speaking from Source. AJ is an Arcturian starseed born in Melbourne, Australia. and he has a profound connection to the extraterrestrial realm and ancient Egypt. His spiritual gifts emerged in childhood, leading him toward a deep understanding of higher consciousness. And in 2022, he embarked on a transformative journey to Egypt, where a special meditation inside the Great Pyramid's King Chamber activated his consciousness grid and deepened his connection to ancient wisdom. Wow, isn't that a cool way for it to happen? Now, Thomas holds a PhD in communications, and he discovered his spiritual gifts while working with a mentor in Washington, D.C. Thomas is a lifelong learner, currently completing a doctorate in theocentric psychology. There's a good word for you, Susan. Expanding his knowledge of the mind, spirit, and higher consciousness. Now, what I love is you two are providing two very diverse and wonderful ways that we can wake up. So I am grateful for how you guys have woken up and shared your gifts and your wisdom. And they, of course, bring in wonderful channels. So let's just start with your non-channel selves, the two human beings, or the two spiritual beings having a human experience. What would you like to share with our audience about kind of your process of awakening?
Well, there's no time like the present. And this is an amazing time right now because if you're an empath, you're opening up to so many experiences. You're having so many sensations out there, and you're reading much more deeply into things and into other people than you perhaps ever have before. And the guides have so much that they're sharing with us. Tom and myself, we do a weekly channel session just for us to get the insight from the guides to help them share with us. And we love to share them every month too with our Live with the Guides online channeling that we do for everyone, as well as our own Circle of Light community. So there is so much just bubbling to the surface right now.
I'm really kind of amazed at this show tonight because really there's been a number of themes that have run through about really owning this yourself and seeing this as internal versus external. That's a big change for us because we're really so used to thinking externally. It's why we complain about the economy, the government, and it's all external. And so this movement, this awakening towards our internal self, our soul, and really understanding our soul, I think, has been an important lesson we've learned from the guides.
Yeah, it's interesting. The guides often say, you humans, you love your drama, and it's even what we call entertainment. We call entertainment drama, but wouldn't it be lovely? And I know, Scott, you feel this, and I know Amishar feels this, and I know the Awakening World community feels this as well. Wouldn't it be lovely to say, I love my love. I love the connections I have with my brothers and sisters and with planet Earth and my animals and everything like that. And to get invested in that. And that's what we call the shift. That is the transcendence that we're right on the precipice of right now. And that's where our focus needs to be.
Now, I'll tell you one other thing that really struck me that the guides have been teaching us all along, and they've been sharing it with everyone we let them share too, or we're given the opportunity to share with. And that's it. This is really about joy. And so a really great way to think about all of this is, what's the connection to my joy, right? You just saw a wonderful example of that. And I just love the poetry stuff,
Susan,
because
wow.
the joy,
Yeah.
it's all about joy. And so the guides keep reminding us, this is about joy. That this isn't about arduousness. This isn't about some rough awakening. This isn't about struggling through till you figure it all out and everything changes. That all of this, and especially your connection to Source, your alignment with Source, the result is joy, right? So even throughout all of tonight, I kept hearing them say, would you have fun? Would you have fun?
Yeah.
You want to have fun? I'm having some fun.
Yeah, it's so funny because the guides say that the lessons we learn from joy are equally important and equally as valid as the lessons we might learn in pain or suffering or denial or anything like that. And they give us the question, they say, which would you rather choose?
Right. And guess what? Ascension is going to be joyful. I think sometimes we think Ascension is going to be this tremendous,
rude awakening.
Rude awakening, or it's going to be somehow a higher self where we've lost joy. No, no, no,
No.
It's all about joy. We're going to beam joy. And joy is really what enables us to unconditionally love.
Yes, and it's going to encircle the planet. Once that fire starts, it's going to be contagious and wonderful. It's really going to be something.
So I know that people often say, well, how can I embrace joy? That's really selfish considering all the pain in the world, what's happening and, the suffering, so what's your response to that, or what have the guides said about that?
I'll tell you what the guides say, because what AJ and Tom say is probably not half as profound, but what the guides often say, because they do hear this a lot, is you cannot be hungry enough to help the hungry. You cannot be in enough pain to help those who are in pain. That there's not a reciprocal nature to this. That's our guilt. That's our ego that says to us, gosh, somebody else is unhappy, so I should be unhappy. Where the exact opposite is the case. You have a light. In fact, the guides say that you are a great beam of light. You are a lighthouse of light. And being a lighthouse of light, being in your full joy, is exactly how you're going to contribute to the planet.
Yeah, and it's like a smile. When someone gives you a smile or an unconditional hug, you feel it, you take it in, and you can't help but smile back. It's that sort of contagiousness, if you will, because your higher self meets you at that frequency. It's really quite something.
Beautiful. What else would you guys like to share, tonight? And you guys are on fire, by the way. I'm really
we would love to have the guides speak, and we'd love maybe you or your audience to ask some questions of the guides.
Yeah.
If you've got some time, we can step right into that. We can have Tom do a brief alignment meditation with everyone, and then bring the guides in to answer all those questions. And there's no question too large or too small for the guides.
And especially about this subject, about ascension, about disclosure, about all of it. They're keen to all of that because it's where we're living. And again, vibes are pretty high already here. So let me just get us to focus in together.
Yeah.
And real quickly, before you do that, I want to read a couple comments that have come in. And invite people to put your questions in the chat box.
Yeah, please.
Joe Craig writes, let joy interrupt you.
Yeah.
Saw a webinar on divine energy this week through Humanity's team, and it focused on us staying inside, not relating externally, but shining our light and love with Source, the secret of happiness. Yeah. I love the love I feel from AJ and Tom.
Oh, we love you too. Thank you.
Nayla writes, I sense many more dimensions to be opened. Doug May writes, stepping into our love and joy as the best way to steer ourselves through these delightfully dramatic changes. Thank you, Tom and AJ.
We would agree.
Blake writes, yes, let joy wrap your soul in its warm embrace. Zach just writes joy with about 7 Y's at the end. And Ayada is enjoying the show very much tonight. So there we go. Okay, take it away, guys.
All right, let me get us all sort of aligned a little bit here. I'm going to ask everyone, please, to take 3 deep breaths in and out. In and out. In and out. And continue your breathing at this little bit slower pace, really allowing yourself to enjoy the deliciousness of the air that goes in and out of your body without any effort, any thought on your part, filling every cell, feeding every one of your cells with life force. Allow yourself to continue to feel Earth's energy as she comes up from your feet and your seat, as she holds you steady with her gravity, always holding you firm, always filling her nurturing energies into your body. As your crown chakra allows in the energies of the divine, Nice big open crown, allowing in all the energies of beautiful violet silver light that joins with the energies of earth and connects together as above, so below. Now we open our third eye together. We all have a third eye to reach out into the etheric realm, to meet our guides wherever they are. And so I encourage you to look out as we are, as we call forward our beautiful guides and your beautiful guides, asking for them to share their wisdom, asking them to provide the answers that are necessary for you to live a life of joy. We invite them and thank them. We ask for them to enable AJ and I to communicate your messages clearly and concisely for the greatest and highest good of those who are listening.
Indeed, dear ones, we are grateful for this opportunity of communion with you today and to share in your energies. And we wish to provide to you perhaps but a glimpse of our recognition of what beautiful, special jewels, lights that you are, that we see in you, for you to have an idea of your capacity, your essential place in the transformation of consciousness at this time on the planet. For your incarnation now is intentional, and you're coming into your own awareness of your role at this time is essential. But first, dear one, start with yourself. Start with a recognition of your own light, forgiveness, if you will, and allow any occlusions of self-doubt about Source's love for you and your place in the universe to evaporate as you shine out as beacons, as you shine out as points of light, as contrast in these dark times for others to find and to follow and to share.
Dear ones, we watch you as you beat yourselves up. And we wish for you instead to feel the love that Source has for you. For it is not based upon performance. It is not based upon a right or a wrong choice. Do you know that your incarnation is all choice? It is all constant and consistent choices, none of which are good, none of which are bad, all of which are there for your learning, for your knowledge, for your clarification of what it is that you desire. You have heard us say to you before, and we shall say often, that it is the time now for you to simply allow you to set your desires, for they are magic. They have the ability to form, and all that is needed is for you to become clear, perhaps even just for a moment. For your desires will change, they will grow. Circumstances will occur that will clarify them, that will change them. There is no right or wrong, and so no beating yourself up, for there is nothing that you can do that is wrong.
Indeed, dear ones. And so at this time, we wish to share your energies and to experience your frequency and vibration through answering your questions of us tonight. We are eager to hear
your mic, Scott.
We talked earlier with Laura about the bifurcation. What do the guides have to say about that?
We do not care for the term timeline. We find it too linear. And you perhaps have noticed by now, much is not linear. In fact, much moves in chaotic ways, but purposefully. For there is no straight line. We shall say to you that you always choose your experience. We shall say this again. For it is important for you to understand there is not one great decision that you are making this pathway or this pathway, for you are jumping back and forth on a regular basis until you are clear about what it is that you want. And for words do not teach, experience teaches. And so as you experience in each timeline, in each experience that you have, you decide more and more, this is what I prefer. This is what I prefer. It was said earlier this evening, we heard the words that it is how much you are able to take. Let us correct this just a little bit by saying it is how much you are willing to take on. For listen carefully to fear, for fear stops always, even those things that you desire. And so, should you wish to add more dimensions to your experience, it is there for you to do. It is available to you now. You do not eliminate any of the dimensions that have been a part of your experience up until now. You simply are adding more, and doing so gives you an entirely different view, yes? Now you can see perspective where you could not before. Things looked as if they were night and day. Now you can see in between in the gray. Now you can feel the energies, and the energies note often disagree with the behaviors or the words. As you read and can feel energy like you can hear words, now you're able to gain an entirely different insight. Should you wish, experience it, experiment, if you will, for it is available to you should you wish it. Let us tell you from our perspective, with many, many more dimensions coming to you than just those 5, we can tell you that with each additional dimension comes greater joy, for the experience becomes more intensified. Many of you perhaps ate today a tomato, and in eating the tomato, you simply added it to your salad or whatever, and took it in, and perhaps it was delicious, and perhaps it was pleasing, perhaps you did not even pay attention to it. As you add new dimensions, as you allow yourself to walk down this pathway, your experience changes, and now you suddenly taste all that happened to get the tomato to you, all that occurred for that tomato to arrive to you. Now you can taste on a cellular level all the things that make that tomato delicious and make it nutritious. An entirely different experience, yes? And this is why we say the result is joy.
Indeed, dear ones, coming into new times of clarity, as it were, for there is much fuzziness, much unfocus, much indecision. You must appreciate where you are drawing your perspective from. Many of you from this aspect of the cup being half empty, from pessimism, from doubt, from despair, and yet with a matter of clarity you shall see the cup and the container, and you shall understand that you can draw from its fullness, from its joy, from its pleasure, from its abundance. And so we say to you now, beacons of light, where are you deciding to place your consciousness? This is the clarity of choice before you at the moment, seemingly an aspect of duality, seemingly an aspect of bifurcation, and yet all a part of the whole. Nothing is separate, yet merely a defining clarity of your choice, of where you place your consciousness and where you derive your higher joy.
And then you move as you move. In other words, your capacity is not arduous. It is simply there for you. And so you are walking a path of life. Yes, you are moving forward day after day, and yet you are noticing and experiencing additional things. And you're asking yourselves, do I like this? Is it enhancing for me? Am I understanding greater? You are starting to hear each other's minds. These are all choices available to you, all part of your being, none which require your work.
Beautiful. Omashar has a question.
Dearest one.
Dearest ones, I don't trust the voices that I hear in my head anymore when I ask deep questions. Is there a specific place in my physical body that I should focus on, i.e., my third eye area or my heart area, to hear that still small voice or to hear my higher self speaking to me when I ask questions? Because when I do ask questions, a million things, my mind speaks to me in that which it could seem to me to be my higher self, but I don't trust my mind anymore.
This is the critical element, is your trust. You are trying too hard to make sense of it, and you are focusing on an audience. You are focusing on who else would hear those thoughts and who would say this makes no sense. For it is not a matter of your physique. It is not a matter of your physiology. It is simply your openness, which is occurring for all of you. Again, a choice. You can shut this down should you wish, and many around you do. We cannot imagine this to be true for you, beloved, for we see your open eyes, we hear your open thoughts, and therefore we would say to you to trust. Not all of it is for all others. And so it is important for you to continue to ask for discernment. For many of you are feeling much rushing in, conversations that do not seem to make sense to you, words that come to you that you cannot find context for. This is fine. Simply keep them with you in your heart, jot them down, and then allow yourself discernment to say, what of this can I make sense of in a separate process? Do not try to do all of this at once, but simply allow yourself to clarify. Do you know that your guide, Source itself, wishes for this clarity for you? And so continue to ask them to make clear all these thoughts, to find direction, but not to respond to an audience, not because it will do something for someone. This is an outcome. Do you know it is not your concern about the outcome? It is your concern only for what is coming to you and your alignment with Source. And so ask Source to clarify and allow those clarifying thoughts to emerge simply on their own, simply for your heart. And from there you shall find the path forward.
Indeed, we hear you and many of you saying, what should I do? What should I do about this? What should I do about these thoughts, these feelings, these behaviors, these impressions, these emotions? And instead we say to you, there is nothing to do but everything to simply be. Simply allow flow, simply allow breath, simply allow being in the present moment, and simply recognize where your frequency is at, and then adjust your frequency to your high heart, to those things that give you peace and well-being, and even if you dare, joy. For this is the power that you have to recognize within you where your frequency is at any given point in time, and say, not what should I do about it, but what should I be, and how would I enjoy being?
What we are suggesting to you, beloved, and all of you, is that you are now tapping into universal mind, a busy, noisy place. For there are many thoughts and many ideas that are flowing constantly. And as you seek to find your path, to ask what is of my greatest and highest good, to know, to understand, this will become clearer. Yet this is why we say the time that you need in silence is critical. You call this meditation. This is fine. As long as it is not busying you and allowing you to take the time to listen. It is this time in silence of listening that you are able to pare through and find distinctions. We remind you that as all of the interdimensional beings have access to universal mind, beloveds, not just the mind of humans, but the minds of the universe and all that is going on in thought across the universe, that in fact there is great joy and not hard work. And so as you enter this consciousness, believing that you must do work, then you have already thrown yourself out. And so allow yourself to simply trust and to simply enjoy and to listen for choruses. Many different voices are singing to you, allowing you in to the larger conversation that is occurring. We wish to speak of this for a moment for you, for as we have been talking about ascension throughout the entire evening, we wish to remind you that this preparation you are hearing about throughout the evening is essential. The time that you spend in practice so that you can quiet your mind, so that you can listen through, so that you can work from fear to joy is exactly the work for you to be doing now. It is exactly, we say work, it is not work. It is a simple joy, it can be play. When you allow yourself to simply say, I have access to new conversations, allow me to listen without fear, with pure joy, for I shall find there fragments of my own heart and my own mind being added into the mighty stream. We say, let the river run, let it flow, for you are a part of it all.
Indeed, dear one, and as an added gift to our dear Omasha, we shall add a musical reference for you, dear one, and we say simply to you to let the sun shine in.
Thank you.
Eleanor Choi wants to point out that you've addressed her silent question, so you tapped in.
This is our job.
Zach asks, what about the fear that joy will end?
It's not possible, dear one, for the universe only expands and creates. It only sends out the frequency of creation, which is based in love and joy itself. It is simply antithetical for you as a living part of all of consciousness, for anything to end, for anything to stop. It is simply a matter of expansion. And so as we say to you to open your heart to higher frequencies, and as we said, let the sun shine in, to allow these higher frequencies to come to you, for these are aligned with you. These are part of your natural states of being. They are undeniable and immutable.
Listen carefully, beloved, to your thoughts here, for you are declaring ending as a part of the universe, and yet there is no ending. It is a myth, for humans believe they end. Eras, they believe, end. And yet you know exactly what occurs is that energy reforms, for it cannot be destroyed. So we are not saying that joy itself is not perishable, though it is not. We are saying to you that joy as an energy, as a frequency, for it is a frequency, it is not an emotional reaction, it is not a circumstance. It is simply a frequency that you are able to acquire at any time. We will give you a secret. The door is appreciation. And as you move towards this appreciation, this joy, you may resurge it at any time. You may find that it reforms. It is less simple than it once was, perhaps. It is perhaps less giddy than it once was. It may be reforming into a different, deeper type of joy than you have experienced in the past. But, beloved, you hold the dial. You are the one in control of the frequency, just as you are in control of all of your frequencies. It cannot end, for you will not end. It will continue. You will continue.
Many of the people that I know are concerned with the idea that by not addressing the horrors going on in the world, that we are spiritually bypassing. Do you have any thoughts about that?
We would love to discuss this, for we believe it is so important as you are building your energy, where it is that you are directing that energy. Do you not believe, do you not accept that your energies are strong and strongest when they are coming together? When you pray together, when you commit together, when you intend together, this is when the intention is as strong as it can be, stronger than thousands and thousands of you individually trying to make change. It is your light that has an effect. You know this, for you have seen yourself or others walk into a room with a vibration that changes the entire room, yes? You have seen a room brighten and come alive when a vibration is high, without a word, without an action. You have seen when the opposite is true, a very low vibration brings the room down, sucks the air out of the room, as you say. This power of yours, it is a power. It is your light. It is a part of your soul. Now, some of your lights are weak only because you are not returning to the energy source. This is so easy for you to do. For source is source. There is no mistake in this word. Source is the source of all of this frequency. And so as you align to source, as you listen to source, as you align your thoughts towards source and its nature, then you shall find that you have far greater power to emit your light, and it has a far greater effect than you have come to believe, not just for yourself, but for all those around you. And so we would encourage you to come together in groups, especially though you may do this on your own. It is more powerful in groups. Come together and set an intention. I intend for this to occur in this country. I intend for this to occur in this city. I intend for the greatest and highest good. I shine our collective light towards this. And then we encourage you to watch, perhaps not immediately, but soon. And as more and more of you do this, this power grows. This is the point of your awakening. It is that you can change your planet by coming together and agreeing upon the greatest and highest good of all. And so, no, it is not wise for you to ignore. You should not look away from the horrors, as you call them, that is occurring around the world. You should shine your light. You should shine your light. And we encourage you to do so together, for your light is so powerful when you shine it together.
Indeed, dear ones. Put simply, we remind you that darkness and contrast are very necessary, for they are the foundations which help you make new decisions and point you toward the light. This is their very function, to always help you make new decisions, new conscious decisions, to move toward the light, to send you higher, not to drag you down.
Now, at times, what you shall find is an intensification. There are many of you who are intending for a change in your government, and you are seeing an intensification in your government. This is moving the boil to a bursting point, as I believe you have heard already this evening. And so the question becomes, is the greater and higher good being accomplished as I continue to send my light? And this does not mean all resolves in an instant, but watch carefully to see how things advance. More and more are waking up to say, I am not happy with this. This does not give me joy. I am not satisfied. I wish for something more. Are the magic words. And so we encourage you to keep focused on the highest good in your intentions, to shine that light, and to allow things to work out, for all of the universe is in support of you.
Dear ones, this is the very definition of the transcendence we talk about, of the ascension that we talk about. It is there before you in this contrast and in this recognition of your own light and the decisions you can make therein.
And shining your light is fun. We shall say again, there should be no arduousness here. Come together as a group and shine your light, laughing your way through, for the power that you are realizing you have is a source of great joy.
A question that's connected to what you just shared from Celeste. She asks, so would you give the holistic and spiritual communities permission to celebrate No King's Day with joy for small d democracy and capital D for divinity?
We would encourage you to enter everything with joy. This does not mean you cannot add your voice, but we would encourage you to go to such events, not with a fist raised, not trying to make a point, for no one is listening to this point. We are sorry to say to you, your power, as you come together, is exactly what we are speaking of. It is collective intent. And so you come together with your fellow citizens and you say, we envision something better. We envision something best. Now, this is an important point we wish to make to you. For some of you go to these events to complain. And then to notice all this does is to reify the negative. All it does is to say this is bad. And so all that the universe can hear is more bad. They keep talking about bad. And so we shall give them more things they consider bad. We would encourage you to go to No King's Day or whatever event it is that you are going to. And instead to say, we see something better. We envision something brighter. We envision a world of freedom and love. And we agree. We agree with one another on this. It does not matter that you do not agree with us. It does not matter that you believe you have greater power. It does not even matter that you have a force of some kind that could arrest us all. None of this is as powerful as your collective belief, your collective intention. Go with joy. Focus on what it is that you wish. And this is the power you are creating. We are delighted when we see the joy that we have seen in these events, when individuals come together with someone they have never met before, someone who is quite different than them in every way. And they say, we agree. We come with the same intent. And together our intent combines in powerful ways.
Indeed, we see you coming together to form new communities of light. And so we say to you to create anew. What shall I create from this? How do I intend to live co-creation with my brothers and sisters and the environment? And how do I prepare in new communities to open up to the conscious connections of the shared mind and the higher frequencies and communion of the interdimensional and extraterrestrial brothers and sisters that are all beside you right at this moment?
Celebrating with you. This means we are suggesting a bit of discipline for you, and that is to step away when the gathering is one of discontent, purely one of complaint, one of upset, that does not feel joyful. For it is not accomplishing anything for you. It is not changing the energy, it is simply reinforcing it. For when you go to war, then there is war, there is battle. But when you go for peace, then there is a different energy provided. We would encourage you towards this direction.
Dear ones, this is the promise of America that is before you at this time. As you gather in light, as you gather in consciousness, a massive statement, a massive declaration shall be made in the forming and structuring of something new that has been decided in light, not in opposition.
And see how across the entire planet similar things are happening, similar forms of awakening are occurring. But we encourage you to lead the way in your union, in your agreement with one another towards the greatest and highest good. And do not worry about what it is that you do not want. Simply focus on what it is that you wish.
Look to your Lady Liberty, dear ones, who steps forward with her arm raised and her beacon of light held aloft.
That is such wonderful advice, gentlemen. Thank you so much. I absolutely agree. It's about what do we want to create and holding the highest vision and shining the light of our love on our positive vision for the new earth, for the awakening world, as opposed to putting our attention into complaining or making wrong. I could not agree more. And I so appreciate how eloquently and beautifully you've spoken all of that. Thank you.
And here is why, beloved, you are sitting in front of the microphone, yes? Why you have been given responsibility to share messages with so very many. We shall say to all of you, you are doing far greater than you give yourselves credit. And so we encourage you, no more concern over mistakes or slow growth. Simply allow yourself to move forward with what you have been given, what you are finding, and ask for more, ask for more. But in all of this, know how deeply you are adored by Source, how deeply you are adored by the universe. For many of you still think that your extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, those from other civilizations, are already mad at you. They are not. They instead see the potential and know who you are and who you can be. And they await to have the interaction with you. They await to embrace you. The universe wishes to embrace you and not reject you. We leave you with this encouragement, and with this we are complete.
Celeste says, this is so beautiful. I'm crying.
Oh,
And
us too.
that was so powerful, gentlemen. It was just, I mean, I don't know, this is probably the sixth time on the show or something. And that was my favorite
Yeah.
of answers and sharing. You know, it's just
I
so
tell you what, Scott, they're getting more intense these days.
They're coming through very, very powerfully, and they've got some phenomenal messages. And we'd love you and your community to join our community at Speaking from Source, and be a part of our monthly online channeling group. Visit our website, Speaking from Source. We can book a private session there if you'd like a one-on-one, a deep dive with the guides, and we'll provide you with a full written transcript, because as you know, they can be very deep and meaningful, a lot to take in all in one sitting. So you'll get a transcript there with your session. You can be a part of our community. Community is forming all over the world. And so we have our own Circle of Light community that we love to share as well. Check out our channeling events. You know, we're going to be with Neil and all these other wonderful
Cast of
people
thousands, Scott.
at the New Living Expo. And we're so delighted to be a part of that. We'll be doing a special channeling there, as well as having a booth.
great. And I'll look forward to seeing you in person.
Yes.
There, of course, we'll be there. Tell us a little bit about your Circle of Light community.
Sure,
And
we'd love to.
I've got the website up. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've got the website up. And
Yeah.
for everybody, one more time, it's speakingfromsource.com. Speakingfromsource.com.
So the Circle of Light, both AJ and I, and you kind of heard it tonight, the guides have been talking about the importance of our collective. And so as AJ and I keep reflecting about that and asking the guides, what should we be doing? In addition to sharing your messages as often as we can, what should we be doing? And they said, gather together, bring people of like mind together where they can share what they know and what they believe, not unlike what happens in this community. We're seeing communities form all over, circles and circles and circles. And so we wanted to form a circle as well. And the idea is to provide support, to let people have a place where they can come together and not have someone think they're crazy and not have someone to think they're talking a foreign language, and just an opportunity to be part of a larger group. So
yeah, and also, to discuss the principles of the guides that they're bringing forward, like joy, that it's not just an exchange or an emotion, but it's a frequency. And that once more of us reach that level of joy, higher frequencies will become available to us as well. When you look at humans in our smelling senses and you look at dogs and their olfactory skills, they've got 150 times more sensing ability in their smell than we have. And it just goes to show that there is more available to us. We see it in other species that is coming. And so as we discuss these concepts that the guides are bringing forward, that way community is really, really important. And with our community, if you join, you get to have free 12 channeling sessions, group channeling sessions with the guides included with that membership. So you not only get the wisdom of the guides, but the community and the insight to go with it.
And we're constantly asking the guides, what else can we do? So we're planning a podcast isn't really the right word. We'd like to have an open conversation and invite the community in to share their thoughts, share their experiences, so that we have, again, open sharing, as you've heard how important that is. This is a beautiful community. In fact, we love coming to this community, and we want to thank you for letting us come, because community is really important right now.
Yeah, well, thank you. And it's true, there's all these different communities growing, and many of our participants that are here tonight are also part of Unity Earth, and also part of Soul Church, and also part of the Connection Field, and also part of, there's so many wonderful communities, and we're all coming together in wonderful ways.
Yes.
Keep
going.
Yeah, love it.
Gentlemen, God bless you. Love you so much. Looking forward to seeing you in person at the New Living Expo.
Big hug coming to you there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, it is prayer time, and Desiree is teaching a course somewhere tonight. So we are going to turn over to our beloved Tiara to lead something very special for us.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you all. What an absolutely amazing evening and conversation. And it's occurring to me that what we're doing is alchemy. We're taking the parts of life that maybe don't shine so much and using our light to shine them. And I put this in the chat about 40 minutes ago. I was thinking about this, that what we do is we live the life we love and love the life you live. And that's taking the appreciation and the gratitude, no matter what's going on in our lives, and finding those places to infuse that light, and learning to love our shadow, our personal shadow, and as we watch the collective shadow rise to be healed, that's part of the alchemy that we bring in. And that way it's not spiritual bypassing, it's not turning away, but it's meeting it and bringing in more and more of the love. So now what we'll do is we'll first give more of that love to ourselves. And any way that you can, just finding that joy inside yourself and amplifying that, having that grow, and breathing that in as that pure joy, and raising that vibration, and looking around and finding one thing that you love, either inside or outside. And as we're doing that, we're inviting other people, other places, other energies into this sacred container, and we're infusing them with our light and our love. Just as was said, when we walk into a room beaming, it just automatically raises the vibration. And within this spiral of joy, we infuse healing for those in our Zoom room that have been going through some physical things, and healing for our beloved Vivian, who we're going to hear from in a little bit. And just loving, loving, loving. And when that dissipates and we feel those other energies come in, loving them too. It's all a part of being human. It's all a part of raising our collective vibration. And in order to achieve the level of integrity that we need to be telepathic with each other, to instantly know each other's souls, we have to clear everything that's in the way to achieve this clear sight, to be the love and to be the joy. And so sending this love in, I'm reading some of these requests in the chat. Requesting love. Requesting a buoyancy of energy for those with boots on the ground that are doing the tough work. Like, all those parts are needed, all those jobs are needed. Those who are raising those from the lowest vibration up, or inviting them to step into the light, perhaps a better way to say. And for those of us that can feel the ebb and flow of these energies, to notice, acknowledge what's denser, heavier, and then reach out and bring that joy in. It's like bypassing the mind to go back to the heart. And so we send out love and light. We do bless Scott for his position, for having been asked to hold the space for so many of us, more than we can ever know. And for each other, and how we love each other and support each other. And so enjoy, I say, and so it is.
And so it is. I want to have a send special love to Scotty Satori. He's asking for extra love for he and his siblings. Health has gone a little bit south, as he says. His daughter has some challenges with her left arm. So we love Scotty Satori. So maximum grace for Scotty, his daughter, and they are very much in service. So we need them to be healthy and strong. So maximum grace. And also just shining all the light of our love onto those amazing monks marching through the rain, through snow, walking for peace at a time that there are those not creating peace, at a time that racism is at just outrageous levels from our own president, that God bless these monks for what they're doing and what they're representing. And more and more people see what's happening and feel the humility and the beauty of what the monks are doing and what they represent. And recognizing that those monks that are walking represent us. They represent those of us that in our own unique ways are creating peace in the world. We are the Global Peace Tribe. So let's have 2 minutes of just silence. I'll go to gallery view and put your prayers for peace, your prayers for whatever is truly alive for you into our proverbial pot. Maximum grace for all. Maximum grace for all. Thank you so much, Tiara. Thank you. Well, we have a choice to make. Vivian Chauvet was originally going to be on the show. We actually had 2 people that are going to be on tonight, Debbie Solaris and Vivian Chauvet, and they both were ill. It's that time of year. I've had a little cold myself, a little itty bitty. So I do have an interview that I did with Vivian a while back, and I could play that. Or we can, in either case, we're going to go to an Omashar song next. The question that I'd like feedback from is Omashar song and then good night, or Omashar song and play the Vivian Chauvet video. So if the majority wants me to play the video, I will do that. And if people are ready to call it a night after Omashar time, that's what we will do. So please put in the chat box your honest preference, and I will read what you write while beloved Omashar plays our 3rd and final song for the evening.
We are here and we're gathered together holding hands. My sisters and brothers, open hearts and open minds, raising our voices and singing these praises. Singing these praises. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Hey, yana, oh, yana, hey, yana, hey. water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit, earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Hey, yana ho, yana hey, yana, hey, yana ho, yana hey, 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 yana ho, yana hey, yana, hey, yana ho, yana hey, 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 hey. We are here, and yes, we gather together, holding hands. My sisters and brothers, open hearts and open minds, raising our voices and singing these praises. One more time, we'll sing these praises. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Hey, yana ho, yana hey, yana, hey, yana ho, yana hey, 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 yana ho, yana hey, yana, hey, yana ho, yana hey, hey, hey. Singing these praises, we're singing these praises, we're singing these praises, we're singing these praises. We are so grateful, singing these praises.
Thank you, Amashar. We are so grateful for our lives, for our community, for you. Thank you. Thank you. I have tabulated the votes. The evening is about to come to an end. That certainly was the majority. Honestly, I'm a bit relieved. I haven't had dinner and I'm ready for that. So thank you, everybody, for a beautiful show. Coming up on Wednesday night will be our annual preview of another show event coming up, Suzanne Ross's Sedona Ascension Retreat. We've got some really fun guests lined up for that. And I really want to highlight our show for a week from tonight, which will be Valentine's night. And we got a very, very special show. Laura Rose and Emmanuel Kunstmann are the founders of the Hola Movement. And Mariko is their executive director, and they're going to be really sharing some wonderful stuff. And we're going to do something we haven't done in a long time. We're going to go into breakout rooms. And in breakout rooms, we're going to all kind of share and converse with each other. So it's going to be a very interactive show. We also are going to catch the latest with our friends Liam, who had the heart transplant, and Heidi. And Kristen Hoffman will be my co-host. She'll be with us live. And of course, Omashar will be with us. And also we're going to have an amazing woman, Scarlett Lewis, whose son was murdered as part of the Sandy Hook massacre. And she has responded to the most horrible thing that can happen to a person by creating a foundation that's all about spreading love. She's an extraordinary person with an amazing heart. So we're going to really be looking at love from many different angles, not just romantic love. We think of Valentine's Day and we only think of love as couples. Well, many of us are single. So we're going to look at love in many, many forms, whether it's creative expression like Omashar and Kristen do through their music, creating community, creating organizations, being of service. the many different forms of love is what we're going to be celebrating. And we are going to open it up. So this is a great show to bring people to, invite people to. Same Zoom room as tonight, and you can share it with others. So please do so. All right. Thank you, everybody. Make tomorrow a sacred Sunday, and we do that by seeing the divine in all. Take care, everybody. I love you, and I will see you on Wednesday night.